Welcome in, everyone.
Yes.
Big day at Santa Anita. We are so happy to be back streaming live, Breeders' Cup Live, Road to the Longines Classic. Oh my God, 3 win and you're in races are coming up at Santa Anita. We have got the Santa Anita Sprint Championship. We've got the Rodeo Drive, and then the big one is the Awesome Again Stakes. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. We encourage you to drop your picks, your questions, your comments into the comment section wherever you're watching, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Let us know what you're thinking, what you're watching. We're going to be watching the races live with you tonight. Before I introduce our expert panel, I do want to say that we are very much tonight thinking about our good friend Jessica Paquette, who was supposed to join us on this very show. Jessica had a fall from a horse yesterday and is awaiting surgery for her back. So we are thinking about her. We're praying for her. We're sending her positive vibes. So Jessica, we are thinking about you. We love you, and we hope to see you back here soon. All right.
And thank goodness she was wearing her helmet.
Thank you. And she pointed that out. She was, This is why we wear helmets. It could have been a lot worse. So I'm glad.
And we have some good news on that front, Dan. She's actually able to avoid surgery. So she's just going to be on the shelf for about 6 months and take it easy. And they think she's going to be able to recover on her own to provide the most mobility. Now, I might have scared her because I started talking about my wife's spinal fusion. But that was what the doctor said. She didn't ask, can I not have surgery? So good news all around, and we miss Jessica, and we're thinking of her today, of course.
Well, JD, thanks for that update. JD, the last minute fill-in duties here. We appreciate JD Fox, our good friend here who produces some of our shows, who has also appeared on a ton of shows. You can also find him on the Champagne and JD show, filling in. So thank you, JD. I know you were traveling today. You were at Santa Anita yesterday, correct?
Yeah, I was. So I'm the only person that was actually dumb enough to fly from Santa Anita to Arizona to do a show. But hey, I'm here, and I'm joined by some good friends and some good company, and we're gonna pick some winners and help some people out today.
All right. So our other company, of course, one of the most familiar faces on Breeders' Cup channels, NABR channels, Ren Carothers. Ren, how is your weekend going so far? We doing all right? Making some money?
Hey, well, don't get me started. The main thing I want to say is happy birthday to my mom. Guessing she's watching because she's like our biggest fan. Yeah,
Dorothy.
This is just hot cider. This isn't even spiked. This isn't like hard cider. This is just hot cider.
Got the Santa Anita cup though.
Yeah, well, actually, it's Ponchos from Manhattan Beach.
Oh.
Actually, they gave us these cups. They gave us 2 of these mugs the night that we went there, the night that I knew I was having a girl when I was pregnant. And we told them I was pregnant. They were like, hey, here's a mug because I can't drink margaritas.
Down below near JD, you're looking at Mike Somich from the Racing Dudes, the Magic Mike show. Mike, busy times for you. If you're not at the NHC, you're getting ready for the BCBC. What's up in your world, man?
It's been an interesting day. Would have been a little bit better if we could have gotten that 1 by the 6 in the last at Belmont. There would have had the pick 5 and the pick 6, which have been pretty nice rolling into this late half. But I'm excited about this late 4 races or 3 races that we're covering, and the 4 of them. I think we're gonna have some interesting spots. And this is a great day. I mean, I'm getting more and more pumped about the Breeders' Cup day in and day out. But this is the last time we're going to see a lot of these horses before we see them in 4 to 5 weeks at Del Mar. We saw Nick's Go run today. Some wonderful 2-year-olds running up in Belmont. Excited to see these horses run at Santa Anita. So this is that day that just gets the juices flowing. Because right now, after today, it's just all about the Breeders' Cup.
Absolutely. And we're going to be watching all the races that we've been talking about here. The Santa Anita Sprint Championship, the Rodeo Drive, the Awesome Again Stakes, all coming up live right here on Breeders' Cup Live, Road to the Longines Classic. Just so we can kind of take a quick look now at the first of our 3 win and you're in races, take a look at the odds. We're getting the first look there at the board. You see 6 horses in this race, small field, but I think a pretty competitive field and a fun race to handicap. Your favorite currently, just barely, is the 4-horse CZ Rocket. Looking down toward the rail, you got Dr. Scheibel, the 1 post at 5-2. Vertical Threat is the 2-horse, your logical and likely pace setter in this race. The 3-horse, Colt Fiction, of course, a little bit of speed as well. 14-1. As you mentioned, the 4 CZ Rocket 2-1. The 5 Flagstaff opening up a little higher maybe than expected, 8-1. And then the 6 horse Collusion Illusion at 3-1. So we're going to dig into this race in just a moment. I do want to start the show out. We always have all sorts of flashbacks to fun races in the past. And this one in particular, the Awesome Again Stakes, was renamed the Awesome Again Stakes, by the way, in 2012 after 98 British Cup Classic winner Awesome Again. Previously, it was called the – does anybody know? Should I ask this as a trivia question? Do you guys know what this race was called previously?
I'm willing to bet that Ren knows.
Well, I want to see if anybody else knows.
Yeah, okay. So let's leave it open to the viewers. In the meantime, let's show the horse who won the 1987 running of this race and then went on to win the Breeders' Cup Classic.
And Ali Sheba continues to pick him up on the outside with a dramatic run toward the leaders. They're at the quarter pole here at Hollywood Park, and it is Judge Angelucci on the outside. Can he go toward the rail? Ferdinand and Ali Sheba coming on from the outside. Good Command is in behind horses. They're less than a furlong out. Judge Angelucci desperate. Ferdinand right there. Ali Sheba on the outside. Ferdinand, Judge Angelucci on the outside. Ali Sheba. Ferdinand has the lead. Ali Sheba, a final surge. The 2 Derby winners hit the wire together. Ferdinand and Ali Sheba in a dramatic photo finish.
Such a great replay.
And we have a winner.
Yep. Good job.
Goodwood Handicap, Sidewalk Cafe 2020. Nice job chiming in there with the answer. So that is Ferdinand winning the Goodwood, goes on to win the Classic. All right. You see the live screen there. You can see they're running a little promo here, and then they'll get back to the horses in the paddock. That's when we'll come back to that video. To start off, though, let's go down to Ren. And Ren, do you want to set this race up for us a little bit here, the Santa Anita Sprint Championship?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, no result would surprise. But I'm just gonna get right to it and say why I like the horse I like, because I want to. There's a little bit behind it, and you know me, I can be pretty loquacious. So I'm gonna go with Flagstaff. You might be like, well, Flagstaff. I mean, CZ Rockets beat Flagstaff numerous times, so why do you like him better than CZ Rocket? Well, I mean, it's not like CZ Rocket ever destroyed the horse, okay? And there've been extenuating circumstances for why he's been able to get up over him. If you look to last year's Santa Anita Sprint Championship, I mean, we did see Flagstaff actually get the lead and just come up short ahead that day. But the main thing I noticed that I wanted to bring to people's attention is this horse, in the True North handicap. The track was listed as good. I'm not saying that was an excuse or anything. The thing that I did want to bring to attention, watching that replay, he was battling with Firenze Fire, or as our good friend Penelope loves to say, Firenze Fire. Down the backstretch, right? They get to the turn. He changed his lead too early, and he got on, and so he's going around the turn on his freaking right lead, which is an awkward position for a horse to be in. And yet he still only ultimately was beaten a length and a half, despite the fact that he already spent himself on that right lead because he changed way too early. Changed it like at the top of the turn. And so I give him the, like a little bit of a mea culpa there. Then, coming back off the layoff, granted, it wasn't a super long one. You're in the Pat O'Brien. You're stretching now back out to the 7 furlongs. And he had that wide trip. So, and he did come out a little perched on his hooves a little bit coming out of the gate as well. I'm not going to say that was a big excuse. But the fact that he was able to duel, bottom line, with a horse like Firenze Fire, who, we know that horse just most recently tried to savage upon in the Grade 1 Forgo Stakes and probably would have won had he not done that, because it looked like he had a lot of momentum heading down the stretch until that occurred. That's why I like Flagstaff. He may be better at a little bit of a longer distance, but I think given the situation here, I don't think the pace scenario is, one of these ones where it's going to be too hotly contended. Obviously, Vertical Threat has some speed. But I think he's more versatile. CZ Rocket's not going to get he's a closing sprinter. He's not going to get a hot pace today. So I'm going to go Flagstaff. Joe Bravo. What's up?
So these horses did connect last year. CZ Rocket, Flagstaff, Collusion Illusion in the Santa Anita Sprint Championship. Let's take a look back at how that race ended.
Collusion Illusion looking for room, finding it down at the rail, and here he comes. Here comes Collusion Illusion down at the rail, trying to run down Flagstaff, who has a short lead, and CZ Rocket with those big strides on the outside. CZ Rocket has collared Flagstaff close to home, but if Flagstaff keeps fighting, CZ Rocket, Flagstaff, CZ Rocket. What a run from him.
All right, JD, thoughts from you? I mean, these horses have, it's like, depending on the day, right? I mean, any one of these horses could win this race. Ren pointed out to it. It could be any one of these, which is, again, it kind of sounds like a little bit of a way to weasel out of a pick, but that is the truth, right? I mean, these horses have gone up against each other a number of times, different results. How do you see today being the day for one horse over one of the others?
I think speed is going to be the big factor here. And we look at the Bing Crosby, which, a lot of these runners came out of back in July at Del Mar. I mean, there was a ton of speed signed on that day. And here, there's not a lot of early speed signed on. So I'm going to take a chance here with the 2 Vertical Threat. And you might be looking at that last race and looking at, the Russell Road at Charlestown. Okay, what does a 7 furlong 2-turn sprint mean when we're out here racing in Southern California? But Vertical Threat was coming off the long layoff in the Bing Crosby, wasn't sharp out of the gate, wasn't kind of his normal self, and I think needed the race in the Bing Crosby. And I love the fitness that you get from such a 2-turn sprint, such a challenging sprint to go wire to wire and actually pull away from the field late in what was a pretty strong race at Charlestown on a big day. So, I think Vertical Threat probably, lone speed here might see Flagstaff attempt to go up there. But, in this sort of circumstance, I'm looking at, some very good horses, but some horses that need some pace to run into. And if Vertical Threat can get an easy lead with Abel Cedillo up front, I do really like Vertical Threat in the spot. And I think we're getting a square price right now at 5-1.
I like where your head's at, JD. This horse.
Can I say real quick my only concern with this horse? Because Matt Carothers was talking about this horse also. And I said, my only concern with him, and maybe it's not a concern. Maybe it is just simply, as it goes as far as the fact as in that Bing Crosby, he's coming back off a super long layoff into a grade 1 race. Very much is a possibility. But it is also his only start without Lasix. And he really, so that was my only concern with him.
I know that's a very important point, and I think it's a good point to raise. I think you could raise another concern, to be honest. I mean, his only wins have come at like Charlestown, Mahoning Valley, Los Al. I mean, those are certain kinds of tracks, right? I mean, those are not, different configurations, certainly from Santa Anita. But what I like from, about what JD said is that this is a horse who, if he gets loose on the lead, is when he's most dangerous. And I don't see anyone else in this race who's going to go with him, except for maybe Colts Fiction. I don't know. Mike, what do you think? How do you see the pace developing here?
Yeah, I'm a sucker for a lone speed horse, and I think that's what we're getting here with the 2-horse Vertical Threat. I mean, when you look at the time form numbers, and I will generally handicap with DRF and then check out time form and kind of see if it backs it up. It's one of those situations where, the early time form number for Vertical Threat is 121. The next highest is actually Flagstaff. And I think that is kind of why Ren's argument is pretty valid here, where Flagstaff could be the one sitting the trip right behind Vertical Threat. And if he does spit the bit, if he gives it up, Flagstaff is going to be in that position. And CZ Rocket's going to have to run him down, which I think is a lot more difficult than if CZ Rocket kind of gets the jump here. But for me, and I talked about this on the Magic Mike show, I'm playing a burner pick for it. I'm taking the speed. I think we might see 3 horses go wire to wire here in all 3 of these races. You got going to Vegas in the next race. You've got Medina Spirit going in the Awesome again. Both of those horses are going to be on lone leads as well. And I think you might just see speed play out very, very well today here at Santa Anita. So I'll take 9-2 on Vertical Threat. I was hoping to get like the 3-1 4 to run range, but 9-2, I think it's a pretty solid play.
All right. Now, look, we have we brought up the Bing Crosby here a couple of times. We haven't mentioned the horse who actually won that race. His name is Dr. Chevelle or Chevelle. Let's take a look back at the Bing Crosby.
just 8 lengths off the leaders, and then Shooters Shoot. They come to the top of the lane. Brickyard rides as the leader. Dr. Chevelle in the red, and now CZ Rocket is winding up, has to go wide, but starting his chase after them. Law-abiding Citizen in there too. It's suddenly wide open. Law-abiding Citizen, 8 rings. On the outside, Dr. Chevelle coming home gamely. Brickyard ride, wide open. They come for home. Dr. Chevelle, late run from CZ Rocket. Dr. Chevelle just got there.
And 8 Rings just won.
First of all, Chevelle or Shivel?
I thought it was the latter, but I'm not gonna.
Give it to us, Ren. Come on.
I honestly don't.
I'm standing on the Shivel Mountain all day. It's Shivel to me.
The one thing I will say is I'm glad that we did not super vertical threat finishing last by 21 lengths in that race, and we also cut from the replay before vertical threat actually finished that race. So I'm just pretending that race didn't happen for vertical threat because obviously the package, proved it that way. So
but let's be fair to vertical threat. They went 21-4, 44-3, and he was chasing the pace in that spot. Yeah. You had 8 rings. You had a lot of other speed horses. You could even kind of see just from that replay, it was a little bit of a collapse there toward the end where you had these horses coming from the back. The speed was clearly backing up. How often do you see a 6-horse field in a grade 2 sprint and you have a lone speed? I mean, that's just so rare these days. Usually you just have 3 or 4 speed horses and someone's trying to chase them down. In this case, we have 1 speed horse and 3 or 4 horses trying to chase them down.
Ooh, I like that your dad agrees with me. Dan Tordjman.
Well, I mean, he's always going to agree with you.
Maxim! Love it.
Over me. I mean, he'll agree with you any day over me. So.
But yeah, we did see 8 Rings just win the 6th race, right? Today at Santa Anita.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
So look, let's talk a little Shivel. Okay, this horse broke his maiden going 6 at Del Mar and then followed up with a win in the Del Mar Futurity. But was then out of action for a long time, came back, won an allowance at Del Mar, and then the Bing Crosby. So we know that this horse has ability. We know that he's run his best races at Del Mar, but he also won an allowance race here at Santa Anita. I don't know. What's the concern with this horse? Is it just the fact that he's taking big breaks between races, that there's something, I mean, he's fragile? I mean, what is the concern? Because every time he actually runs, he seems to win or run pretty well. So what's the concern?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do we all like him? Is it our pick? I mean, we're all picking him or what?
No, I'm on Flagstaff, so.
Okay. JD, give me an argument against Dr. Shivel.
Well, I think what we've seen, obviously 4 straight wins, the long layoff between. We saw one of 2 things. We saw either a strong pace up front for the horse to run into and finish, or we saw just a class difference. So the allowance win and the maiden win, just classier than the field. Obviously had Spielberg in both those spots, but other than that, pretty light field-wise. And, you look at the Bing Crosby and the Futurity. I mean, those were very quick races up front.
Yeah.
And Shivel was a little closer to the pace in the Futurity, but that's also a 7 furlong race. So it's a slightly different ask here at 6 furlong. So I think this horse, for me, is going to come flying late and probably would be my underneath. I would crush a 2-1 exacta if I was not in the state of Arizona right now.
Mike, where do you stand on the doctor?
Look, man, I'm a sucker for these younger horses, and we've got 2 4-year-olds and the 2-horse and the 6-horse. Dr. Shivel, the only 3-year-old horse in the field. I think you could see Dr. Shivel take a big step forward here. I'm personally fading CZ Rocket and Flagstaff, and I'm playing some of the younger horses here. I think Vertical Threat has a big chance here late in the 4-year-old season. I think Dr. Shivel could take a step forward, and you look at what he did off the layoff last time. Huge number. He ran his best race off the layoff. He wins the Bing Crosby second off the layoff, and now we're getting him a little bit fresher. I also think that he's got that tactical speed to be able to sit right behind the 2 and the 3. I think you're going to see the 2 out front. I think the 3 and the 1 are going to be kind of in that next pocket. I think the 5 will be right behind them. And I'm not sure if Dr. Shivel runs well and gets first jump, if anyone's going to be able to catch him. That would make him awfully dangerous in this spot. So in the pick fours, I'm only playing 1-2, and I'm in my $5 press one. I'm playing just the 2 horse.
Okay. All right. So that makes me feel a little better. I think we all, we can see the potential there. But now look, he's 2-1. His numbers lit up in yellow, so he's your current favorite, and probably will go off as the favorite here. There are a couple other horses we haven't mentioned yet, but I just want to take a step back and remind people, if you're just joining us now, you're watching Breeders' Cup Live, Road to the Longines Classic. You're about to watch with us 3 win-and-you're-in races for the Breeders' Cup, starting off with the Santa Anita Sprint Championship. From there, we'll move to the Rodeo Drive, and then we'll close it out with the Awesome Again Stakes. We've been looking back at some Awesome Again Stakes winners who then went on to win the Breeders' Cup Classic. And now I want to take a look back at a horse we kind of seem to pop up every time on this show. His name was Tiz Now. The year was 2000. Here's what happened.
Tiz Now and Chris McCarron down at the rail. Captain Stephen Victor Espinosa stride for stride with a 16th to go. What a horse race it is. Tiz Now, Captain Steve. Tiz Now gonna win it. Tiz Now a neck to Captain Steve.
They're coming into the final furlong. Tiz Now tough as nails. Giants Causeway on the outside. Giants Causeway and Tiz Now battling head to head. A heart-pounding, pulsating stretch drive, and Tiz Now prevails. Tiz Now has won it by a nose over Giants Causeway, and it was close for third there.
I'm a huge fan of Tiz Now. I love Tiz Now. I got to give a shout out to Giants Causeway in that replay as well, because what a badass. I mean, that's the 2000 Cartier Horse of the Year getting on dirt. They try him in the freaking Breeders' Cup Classic on dirt, and he throws down like that against a monster like Tiz Now. And that's just so cool to see. And we see that legacy of Giants Causeway still in action today through his sons, and also through Gunrunner, who's out of a Giants Causeway mare. So it's really nice to see it.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's funny, we keep going back to that 2001 race because of the context, like the broader context of the race. But I mean, that was really an impressive. I mean, you could argue that was the more impressive race. I mean, so yeah, totally feeling your love there.
You can get lost in these Breeders' Cup Classics too.
Yeah.
I mean, I threw up the Awesome Again one, and you've got Skip Away and Swain, and you've got all these horses that run second and third and fourth. And I just having Cigar lose up at Woodbine, and then win one down at Belmont. I mean, it's just so fun to watch these Breeders' Cup Classics backs and see who's run second and third, not just the winners.
Michael Myers has been in the comments here with Collusion Illusion. Okay, so I'm not going to lie. Collusion Illusion is my second choice. I like Collusion Illusion. As we saw in the replay, was a game third in this race last year. Was eventually moved up to second. You put a line through that return race last out over the turf. It was his first race back off 8 months off, and presumably meant to give him a soft landing. This spot looks more his speed. He's drawn outside, can assess the pace, and on top of it, we talked about the pace scenario being uncertain. He's adding blinkers here.
Yeah.
So, Collusion Illusion, especially at 5-1, I'll take a bite at that. I'm totally down with Collusion Illusion. I'm 1-6 here. We have people chiming in with their selections. Continue to do that. Daryl is going to go with the long shot number 3, who we have not spoken much about. Colt Fiction was 8-1 in the morning line. Anyone want to make a case for Colt Fiction? No?
I mean, I could make a case. The two doesn't break. He's the lone leader, right? I mean, when there's two speed horses, they're both dangerous, because if one doesn't break, or for some reason one doesn't go, then there you go. And the other part of it is the 3 has to go to win, right? I mean, that would be the argument against the 2 being lone speed, is that the only way the 3 wins is making the lead. And you got nothing to lose at 20-1.
JP, John Piasek going with Flagstaff. Ren, you like that? 6-1 you're getting right now.
I know, right? Come on.
6-1. All right, the Santa Anita Sprint Championship, live from Santa Anita. Enjoy.
And they're off. Vertical Threat is the quickest. Dr. Shibble has some speed. Colt Fiction is right up and on the pace too. So it's Vertical Threat, a narrow leader. Dr. Shivel just a half length back in second, and then it's Colt Fiction third, 2.5 off the lead. Collusion Illusion is next, followed by Flagstaff. And as usual, CZ Rocket is at the back early. He has 7 to make up as Dr. Shivel takes control heading to the 3/8 pole. He's in hand and has a 1-length lead on Vertical Threat second. A gap of 4. Flagstaff is starting to rally along the inside, taking third as they come toward the quarter pole. CZ Rocket starts to find his best stride. He'll have to weave through traffic. He's on the outside of Colt Fiction. Dr. Shivel putting in a stellar performance, opens up a commanding lead. CZ Rocket is 5 lengths behind, trying to get into second. Flagstaff holds that spot currently. What an effort out of Dr. Shivel as the 3-year-old schools his elders in the Santa Anita Sprint Championship. Flagstaff gamely fends off CZ Rocket for second, then Colt Fiction.
All right, so we told you we liked the horse. We just got our 3rd pronunciation.
That's what I was just going to say.
But what none of us thought would happen, happened. What was that? Dr. Chevelle to the lead?
Well, I mean, to the point that JD was making, this horse is coming out of much faster races with those halves in, sub 45.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe in a way, this was a little bit of class relief coming in here and just able to relax. And, he's got that maturity behind him. The spacing of the race is, enough where he's had a breather, but there's recency for him.
I don't know when this comment came in, Ross. Dr. Shivel winning.
There could be that at play as well.
Yeah, a little rail bias action. Michael, geared down. My goodness, that's certainly a reaction. JD, your reaction?
I mean, I think Pratt saw that the 2 wasn't going particularly fast, and just getting the first jump was the winning move here. As I mean, the 2 had a lead, but the first quarter wasn't too cooking, 21-4, and Pratt just took over, inside move, and game over, drive home safely.
My horse got second.
This is one of those scenarios where when you're on the best horse, make him beat you, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we saw here. We were all talking about, okay, well, maybe the 2 gets loose on the lead. That's how Dr. Shivel loses this race. And when you watched it, Pratt and Glatt clearly said, hey, we're not losing by the 2 getting loose. We're going to take it to him early, and they did. And then Pratt just decided, if you're not going to take the rail away, I'm going to take it from you and just go. And the best horse won, and just he wanted to make sure he made his own trip versus having to make a trip after getting caught behind the 2 horse around the turn.
Yeah, say that 3 times fast, Pratt and Glatt.
Greg Charcudian, behind the scenes here producing this show, just texted me a broken rain.
Oh, I didn't notice this.
I didn't notice it either, but potentially a broken rain there. Interesting on Dr. Shivel.
At this point, you can say it any freaking way you want.
I'm just calling the doctor.
The doctor.
The doctor. Okay, so now, given what we know, knowing what we know, Ross says Medina Spirit wins with this bias. And then also Ricardo, unless that's Ross's burner account, the same exact thought simultaneously, Medina Spirit wins by 5 lengths. So maybe we've just gotten a little bit of insight into
I don't see broken reins with the doctor here, but are you sure that he didn't mean a different horse?
I don't know. We're trying to get some clarification. Yeah. So,
I hope it's on Vertical Threat, just to explain why he ran off the board here.
We'll all take that excuse. It had to be Vertical Threat.
Yeah, it must have been Vertical Threat.
It had to be. Very cool. So that right there was the Santa Anita Sprint Championship. The doctor is going to the Breeders' Cup Sprint, winning your in race here.
Actually, I'm getting actually a text from Matt Carothers saying, "Amazing win considering the rain may have broke."
Okay.
So, but I don't. Greg
says, watch the gallop out.
Okay.
I think they fixed it. They fixed them.
Okay.
So I mean, would they fix them? They would do it that they would just do that. I mean, I guess that would make sense, right? I mean, the horse is going into the winner's circle. They're still, the jock's still on them. So
I just thought he was giving the horse a little love, personally. I didn't think it was anything related to the gear, but I could be wrong.
Okay. I mean, look, either way, super impressive.
I'm not going to be impressed unless the whole bridle comes off. I'm joking.
You got to do a lot to impress Ren, who apparently bet $250,000 to knock Flagstaff down from 6-1 to 7-2.
No, right? Like, what? How did that? I was just noticing that. What the heck, people?
That's Matt Carothers' money right there. I know you're.
No, he wasn't on my horse. He didn't like Flagstaff. I was like, well, I still like him. I don't care.
Oh man, no, you guys are the best duo. Like a couple of weeks ago, you said he hit. What did he hit? Like a huge.
He hit the pick 5 at Woodbine. Oh gosh, I'll just say it because he could. Like, he had a very small ticket for $8K. So.
Nice. Very nice.
But I helped with that because I gave him a 13-1 shot.
Well,
would he agree with that comment, or would he disagree with that?
He would agree. He would agree. He gave me a cut of the winnings.
Well, you didn't help. You won him the ticket.
Yeah, right. Because he's like, it's like a tip. So
I love that he gave his wife a cut of the winnings.
You just gave us an illusion of collusion.
I know, right? Oh, watch out. Oh, what is this? Couples who cap together stay together. Unless they lose in degeneracy.
By the way, we have consensus now. We never have consensus with our viewers. Everyone loves Medina Spirit now in the Awesome Again.
I think the horse is a legit horse for sure. I mean, if you can take the price, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's all relative to what you're willing to. I mean, I might just in this case want to just sit and watch and enjoy. You know what I'm saying? But we'll talk about when we get to it, I guess.
I mean, I think you could play pick 3s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, you for sure. I mean, like your exotic plays, your.
The last race seems wide open. I mean, you've got like the 12 horse there that's 20-1 in the last race, the 1 horse award winner at 12-1. I mean, you got options at prices in the last race if you just want to single Medina Spirit and try and get through there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I listened to the Magic Mike show, I know how Mike's gonna respond to this, and I had this thought watching this horse cross the finish line very impressively. Okay, he gets to go to the Breeders' Cup Sprint and finish second at best. Then Nick Feldman asked this question. Can this horse beat Jackie's Warrior? I'm going to assume he asked this question sincerely, and then I'll kick it to Mike for the response.
Nope.
Jackie's Warrior, if you've seen this horse in person also, I mean, beyond what he's done on the track, but you just see this horse in person just standing there.
Yeah.
He almost looks mythological when you're looking at him.
Jackie's Warrior is just an elite one-turn sprinting horse, and they tried to stretch him out. They tried to go to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and see if we could go down the Derby path. Didn't work out. They cut him back, and it just dominant. I mean, Frenzy Fire tried to freaking bite the horse, and he wasn't able to get by him. And so it's going to be really tough to beat Jackie's Warrior come Breeders' Cup Day.
He tried to beat. He tried to beat Yopon. He tried to beat Jackie's Warrior too.
Oh, was that Yopon?
It was Yopon.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
No, but hey, it's okay. Like Forensic Fire, like I think he's getting a reputation.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, he did get mauled first. I mean,
that
he learned that.
Yes. It's learned behavior. But you know what? And the thing that sucks, going back to Matt, he was alive, and he would have hit. He was alive. That's what knocked him out. I forget which if it was a pick 4 or pick 5, because he went to savage upon. It cost him a couple of strides. I'm telling you, the horse, if you look at the momentum he had going down the stretch, he would have won had he not got stupid and tried to take Yopon out. But you find new ways to lose. You find new ways to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Can I redirect your initial question that got a very quick response, Dan? I want to try this a different way.
Yes, please.
How did Drain the Clock beat Jackie's Warrior go?
Jackie's Warrior didn't break that day. Just didn't break and had to be rushed up. And I mean, Drain the Clock ran the race of his life. I think those things. But it is ridiculous.
That can happen again.
Well,
if you're not a consistent breaker, and Jackie's Warrior sometimes overcomes slower breaks, and you don't even really notice it because the strides after it are so quick. But I mean, that is a chance that he misses a break. I'm just throwing that out there, maybe just to be a contrarian here.
Oh yeah, look, nothing is guaranteed in racing. I mean, we've seen, upset year after year, horses that couldn't be beaten lose at the Breeders' Cup and lose, everywhere. But I think all things being equal, I think we would all say Jackie's Warrior is probably the closest thing there is this year to a single on your multi-race tickets. I would, at least. I mean, I don't know if you all agree with me, but I think Mike would agree with me again, because like I said, I listened to the Magic Mike show, and so I know how confident he is in Jackie's Warrior. And so yeah.
I'm still hung up on this Pratt and Glatt thing. I am. I want it to be a thing. Like, I want them to team up on enough horses where, like, it's an Old Smoke T-shirt or something. I like I like things like that. I don't know.
I'm slightly concerned as we're looking at the odds now for the first time at the Rodeo Drive that my selection in this race is the second longest shot on the board at 45-1. I'll come back to Cristal in a little bit, and we'll take a closer look. But for those just joining us now, we will be showing you the Rodeo Drive live here on Breeders' Cup Live, Road to the Longines Classic, and then the win and you're in for the Longines Classic is the Awesome Again Stakes. It's race 10, going off at 5:10 Pacific, 8:10 Eastern. We will show you that race live as well. We've been flashing back to some winners of the Awesome Again Stakes who then came back and won the Breeders' Cup Classic. Let's go back to 2003. A horse I feel like we don't talk much about these days. Pleasantly Perfect.
Oh.
Let's take a look at the double he pulled.
Fleet Street Dancer and Pleasantly Perfect. Four of them in a line as they come to the 16th pole. Star Cross is running a big one from fifth. Fleet Street Dancer, Pleasantly Perfect. Pleasantly Perfect gonna get there. Pleasantly Perfect takes the good word to Fleet Street Dancer.
And Pleasantly Perfect trying to mow them down with 100 yards to go. They're dying over on the outside, and they're coming down to the finish. And it is Pleasantly Perfect. Man, oh man, what a day. Pleasantly Perfect wins by 2.
So that call has survived history, right? We all know that call, Mano Mandela. But I feel like we've lost Pleasantly Perfect to history. We like when people talk about good seasons or great seasons, no one talks about them.
No, well. Yeah, I think there's something to that. Obviously there are horses that we always go back to, talking about, for example, Ali Sheba and then Ferdinand, obviously, and Tis Now and Giant's Causeway. But yeah, Pleasantly Perfect, you're right. I mean, he was a super good horse and doesn't get enough respect. But then I'm somebody who, like, one of my favorite horses of all time, I feel like doesn't get enough respect. If you put that horse's record against any horse, it kind of blows most of them away. And I'm talking about like a horse like Round Table. So I guess it's just all relative to generational speak, right?
Mm-hmm. I feel like this question maybe JD can handle. Fleet Street Dancer. Didn't he go to Japan and win the Japan Cup Dirt that year? You're the only person who would know this.
I want to say it was the year after. I need to look at that real quick.
Oh my God, Mike, coming up for you, a question about racing in Sweden. So hang tight. We will throw that your way in a moment. Oh, we have a live guest with us at Santa Anita. Hold on. I'm going to pull this screen down momentarily so that we can bring in our live guest. Our old friend.
Hey,
hi, Ashley.
Hello. How's everyone doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm on the prowl right now. Just walking around.
I love it.
Wait, what does that mean? What are you prowling for?
Just winning horses, not men. Great. Okay.
I felt like we should at least confirm that. Okay, so you're at Santa. By the way, Ashley was First Racing / the Stronach Group / on a million shows with us here at America's Best Racing over the past couple of years. Ashley, you're doing some cool work with First Racing, and now you're at Santa Anita. Tell us what you're doing out there in terms of First Racing stuff. What's going on with First Racing, and then we'll get into some handicapping.
Well, obviously, wanted to come out for a weekend, but with my job, I manage a bunch of projects across the tracks. I'm trying to get to every track here by here, each one little by little. This is my first time being to Santa Anita, I guess, as an employee. This is my third time ever, lucky number 3. Just looking at different improvements we can make here. I think Santa Anita has pretty much a gold standard. Like, I walk around, I keep on staring just because I'm in awe of everything here, whether it's the landscaping or today, one of my favorite conversations was Peppy, who's been here for 50 years at Santa Anita, and just getting to know the of networking and projects to add to my laundry list of work to do, but excited about it. And I brought the hot weather with me. That was, I guess, 70 until I showed up, and now it's about 91.
Bringing the heat. I love it.
Gulf Stream weather. Ashley, are you in charge of the landscaping as well? I thought that was your job.
No, but my dad's a landscaper, so I feel like I have to admire it. It's the gardens here, the statues. It's when you come to Santa Anita, I think it's a lot of new, but it's also just this old feeling of when I look at the grandstand. You don't see grandstands at a lot of newer facilities like that. I think it's magical.
All right. So we do have some people here in our comments who have mentioned, the rail is really good, and because of that, they're excited to see Medina Spirit. So what do you think? I mean, you've obviously, you're a handicapper. I would say first and foremost, that's how I always knew you, as a handicapper. What do you think when you look at the Awesome again? How do you see the race shaping up? And do you think the track plays to Medina Spirit today?
I'm going to say no, because I won't be alive to pick 5 at that point. I didn't. I have reservations about Medina Spirit in general. I think when I look at this race too, going a mile and an eighth here, one of my questions of the big thing was, how's the pace scenario going to play out in here? Just thinking about it, and I think this is an interesting race to kind of look at it from. I think there are some horses in here. I use Midcourt, for example. I actually use him in a couple of my tickets today. I think he's a sleeper at a price, and everyone on here knows that that's what he's looking for, is just a bomb. And in his case, my one reservation was his most recent wins. They've all been on that front end fashion. I don't think he's going to make the lead in here. And then I start looking at, when you go down the PPs, I know you're going back 2 years, but taking close from off of it. So when I look at this race, the rail, talking about the rail, Medina Spirit, Medina Spirit, I think, has to go when you look at the field. He's like a given horse that should be forwardly placed in there, but I still have reservations about him in general. So I'm going to hope that I don't see him in the winner's circle personally.
I don't know if you have any questions for Ashley. She's on site. Obviously, she's been watching the action unfold there.
Oh, did that horse's rein break?
Oh, yeah.
Because we're hearing that the good doctors. I'm not even going to try, because I don't want to insult who the namesake is. We heard the good doctor's reins may have broken at some point during the race. Did that happen?
What'd you say? I couldn't hear you.
Oh, sorry. We heard that in the Santa Anita Sprint Championship that the reins may have broken on the winner.
I don't know, to be honest. Just so watching it and just saw, okay, my horse is in front, that I used in the pick 5, and I felt good about it, but I didn't know. Honestly, as soon as I set an alarm to make sure that I was on time for this, I got on the escalator and made it outside. So I don't know, but that's interesting if they did break.
So who are you using in the last in the pick 5? You referenced the tickets 4 times, and that race is wide open. Who'd you end up with there?
Yeah. Okay, so this was the hardest race, I think, honestly in the sequence. So if I'm alive at this point, I'll be blessed. I think when you look at the logical, to me, Morning Light Favorite, I think you have to use the 4 United in there, honestly. But I thought this was a sneaky race in terms of prices. There were value horses. One horse that we have on the ticket that's a long shot, I like Michael McCarthy's the 12, Friars Road, who tried the turf for the last time out. First time, now second off the layout. I think he's really sneaky. I don't think I'll do 15-1. I think I'm being kind of wide about it, but I don't think I'm going to get that price. We have those 2. We also used another price. There we used the number 8, which is Richard Baltus, 12-1 morning line, Victor Espinoza. And off the top of my head, there's one other one, but I don't have my ticket in front of me. I'm using the pocket program so I could hold the phone. We have one other horse in there as well. But I think it's a really tough race. I think if I'm not alive in the ticket at this point, I really think this is a great race. Methodically play exactas tries. I think there's a lot of value in there.
All right, the Rodeo Drive is coming up next. Want to get your take on that. Do you have a second to hang with us? Because we have another guest who wants to pop in. He's live, not far from you. We're going to bring him live. You good? Okay, so here's our guest live trackside.
And lo and behold, I cannot hear you. So.
Oh no! Can you not hear us, Ryan? Ryan, can you hear us?
Cannot hear you.
No. So that right there is Ryan Flanders. He puts together a tool called Trip Notes Pros, which Santa Anita currently has. If you go to santaanitapark.com, you could get free trip notes from Ryan. He's on mute now, so we
Yeah,
can't.
he's muted.
Let me see. He's muted. Let's see if you can unmute yourself, Ryan. Come on, you can do this.
Dave Weaver!
Dave Weaver.
Weaver!
Weaver doing there?
I still cannot hear.
Dave Weaver!
We're here.
These are handicappers, folks. These aren't like, technicians. These are handicappers.
Well, I know Dave's playing in the big contest today at Santa Anita. That's what he's doing, and I think multiple entries, if I saw correctly.
Ice cold
Did you hang up? Yeah, of course.
Can you guys hear us now?
We are. I don't know who's on there. I was going to say, this is probably the greatest thing I've ever saved.
Ryan, can you hear us? Okay, he just checked that. All right, Ashley, back to you. Let's talk about the Rodeo Drive. We had the odds up a moment ago. We'll take a quick look at those odds one more time. Your 4-5 favorite at the moment is going to Vegas. A little surprised at all the early action on this horse. I figured he'd take action, but 4-5 is a touch surprising to the outside. The 8-horse Luck, the impressive allowance winner. Your second choice at 4-1. Ashley, what do you think?
This is a horse that I used in here. I'm trying to flip the camera because the horses are going by. So give me a second to see if this works.
Cool.
Can you see horses right now? Let's see. I don't know if that worked.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's a horse that I use, Luck. But you talked about going to Vegas. I think this is a horse that you probably, if you're playing any sort of wager in general, you have to use somewhere. I think looking at the distance, 1.25 miles, I think this is that horse's sort of game. So liked that one. Also used in here, Luck, as I mentioned, who just went by. And I think the horse that I thought was sneaky in here is a price as well. The number 2, Fast Jet Court, is the horse that I'm going to use in the exotics. I thought the first start over here was good. Off the slab slow in there, lost some ground in there. I know it was a more compact field of 7. But I think this horse is really going to improve second time over here.
All right. Looks like we have Ryan back. Let's see. Ryan, can you hear us?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
All right. We can hear you. Ryan was talking about Trip Notes Pros. Tell us a little bit more about that. Who do the Trip Notes are too?
Yeah, so you're cutting out a little bit, so hopefully you can hear me. But, so I've got, my opinion in this race is pretty simple. I thought Luck was absolutely phenomenal in her debut here. She was push button, which is super important for turf racing. I'm not a big speed figure guy on turf because it comes down to pace and flow, and that pace was very slow and yielded a slow pace figure, or rather speed figure, but she targeted a very tight in-between hole. She moved in impressively, was put on hold. When she was asked again, she moved wide. I hope you can't hear Dave Weaver over here, who's had way too many adult beverages, and he's kind of obnoxious. But, she targeted that hole. She was put on hold. She moved wide again and then absolutely just blitzed the field in the stretch. It was super, super impressive. Raspoli never bothered taking out the stick. And I think the pace is going to be an issue. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of injection of pace here, but super, super impressive in that debut.
Is Dave Weaver wearing flip-flops?
Of course. Has to be.
I don't think you heard me.
I don't think you heard me either. By the way, we've been talking about Luck quite a bit. We talked about that impressive allowance win. Let's take a look back at how Luck did it last time.
And now here comes Luck in the gold cap with a huge run. And Luck is sweeping them all from behind. They come for home. So much
Clearly
Happy's
having
holding
technical
on.
issues over
Luck
here.
down the center of
I'm
the
gonna give you a
track.
great view of
England's
that.
Rose in with a winning chance too. But it's all Luck. And Luck strikes the front from here on in. It's just a matter of how far. Luck won it impressively.
Can I tell you a little something about Luck?
Tell us.
Okay, so how fitting with it being ARC weekend if she should win here in the Rodeo Drive. Luck by Kitten's Joy out of Gold Round. Gold Round is a half, well, a little bit more than half, but not 3/4 sister to 3-time Breeders' Cup Mile winner Goldakova. And then Luck's great-great-granny is ARC winner Gold River. So, I mean, you want pedigree. That's a pretty star-studded pedigree right there. I'm personally 871 in here.
Okay, 871. So you've got Luck, Magic Attitude, who's a little off my radar, but I like Magic Attitude right now, 5-1. Dog Tech, 6-1.
Well, I think definitely. I think the 7. I think she wants a firm ground. And I mean, look, you run into Altica in the Diana. I mean, if there's any type of pace setup in here, which we don't know exactly, because we have some horses that maybe we would have seen a little bit more forwardly placed. Otherwise, that for example, who Ashley brought up, Fast Jet Court. I don't know. She was off slow. We don't know. Maybe we'll see more pace from her today. But with this other filly, the 7, she's been in against some really good horses in Europe. You see, she was only 3 lengths beaten by Fancy Blue. She was second in the Group 1 Prix-Saint Hilaire. She's just a really nice horse who's just been in against some very tough animals, and you're not going to ship without cause. It's Arnaud Delacour, and you've got Johnny V aboard. So, I mean, I think you got to give her some respect.
Oh, yeah. Give me a Mid-Atlantic trainer on the turf shipping out west any day of the week. I like that a lot. Mike, by the way, we do have Ashley back now. Ashley, welcome back. Looks like you're under a cozy little tree there.
Yes, I'm back. I got a quiet spot now.
Nice.
And by the way, there were also 2 next out winners from that Diana. There was Pocket Square, who actually won 2 in a row, including the Grade 3 Athenia, and then the 7th place Vigilante's Way. She next won the Miss Liberty Stakes. Granted, not a giant number or anything, but it's been a productive race nonetheless.
As we mentioned, the 4-horse Going to Vegas is your heavy favorite. Comes off of an impressive win in the John C. Maybe. Let's do this. Let's take a look at that race and then come back and we'll get Mike's take.
Going to Vegas now, closing in though, and here comes Going to Vegas. Going to Vegas taking on Nasty at the top of the lane. Tap Water in the white cap. Now Dog Tag is let loose, going to have to be hooked 4 wide, but coming after them as well. And then Bodachita, top of the lane now. Nasty taken on by Going to Vegas, who strikes the front. Down the center, Dog Tag. Dog Tag absolutely flying in the center, but Going to Vegas full of run on the lead, and Going to Vegas not going to let Dog Tag get to him. Going to Vegas and Flavion Pratt have taken the John C. Maybe.
What do we think, Mike?
Man, I mean, this is a scenario where you have that lone speed, and the 4 is going to be Going to Vegas, really dangerous up front. I'm not really interested in even money, though. I mean, because I do think this horse has a legit shot at wiring the field. 5-2, 3-1, sign me up. But even money, I kind of like Dog Tag at 6-1 here. If you watch that trip, he was 4 wide trying to chase down Going to Vegas. Dog Tag actually has the 2nd highest early pace figure. It's a 67, but it's still the 2nd highest in this race. So you'd assume that Dog Tag is going to be the horse that's sitting kind of right behind there. For me, though, in the pick 4s and the pick 5s, I'm alive to the 4-horse Going to Vegas, the 5-horse Ride for a Cause, who's currently sitting at the board on 45-1, who I think is actually going to sit a pretty good trip. And I love Michael McCarthy. This horse is second off the layoff as a 5-year-old, has won at Santa Anita before. I think could run a big one here. And then I think Luck is the other obvious horse. But Luck is up against it from a pace perspective. You're going to have the 1, the 4, and the 5, who I think all have a jump on the 8. And so it's going to be tough for Luck to make the run. I think Magic Attitude makes a ton of sense here as well. I think you really just got to try and beat Going to Vegas even money, even though he should get a dream trip on the lead.
I like that you like a bomb. I like the other bomb. As I mentioned, I like the 6 Cristal. I will hopefully be able to make a quick case for that one in a moment. I want to kick it to JD. Before we do, Ashley, since you're out there, I know you got a sort of an up-close look at some of the horses while you're trying to give us that view. Anything stand out to you in the paddock as we count down here the minutes to race 9, the Rodeo Drive Stakes?
To me, the two that I really like going to Vegas is Luck. They happen to just be the shortest prices on the board. Red Lark, I think, looking at for me, and not that this is a horse that I liked, but I looked better than I've never really seen her in the flesh, right? So I thought she looked good. She obviously looked more like a Euro type horse. She's not a hardy filly. She certainly looks like a light European turf filly. Mike Smith, always, when I ever see Mike Smith 20 to 1, I'm always looking, but to me, physically, the top two are the 4 and the 8.
All right, JD, we haven't heard from you on this race so far. Who do you like in the Rodeo Drive?
Well, Mailloux just told you about my top pick, which is Red Lark. Obviously, he has not been in the winner's circle since the Del Mar Oaks last year, but has ran some solid races. And second time with Mike Smith, I think Mike just pushed the button a little late last time out at Del Mar, and I think kind of learned a lot about the horse then. And really, I think, Epaulette, the sire, not a lot of people know about. I'll give a quick spiel on that. Golden Rose Stakes winner is a 2-year-old. Black Opal Stakes winner was second in the TJ Smith Stakes in 2013 to Black Caviar in Black Caviar's final ever race. So really cool horse. That is the sire now, is actually headed to Turkey, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at that. But I do think Red Lark gets a good scenario here, because I think, Dan, your horse, Cristal, with the blinkers on, I think that's a go move from Peter Miller, and I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, and really that's a big part of it, right? I mean, like, we've seen Peter Miller do this many times before with a number of different horses. Take a horse who'd kind of fallen off form, but who had back form. This is a horse who won the PG Johnson and finished second in the Miss Grillo, was, in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf. Had some really big races early in her career, but then never really took that next step. Previously trained, of course, by John Kimmel. Peter Miller now gets the horse, and she's posting speed figures that are progressively better. And so wouldn't at all be a surprise to me if this was the race where she puts it all together. 50 to 1, I mean, indicates to me that the barn and people close to it aren't necessarily putting their money behind this horse. But I don't know. I think there are enough clues in there to indicate Cristal should outrun her 50 to 1 odds.
I'm sorry. I heard my daughter yelling for me. She's managed to pull out an ice cream sandwich from the freezer.
Oh my gosh, she is
life goals.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
All right, here we go.
They're in the gate.
The Rodeo Drive Stakes, folks. Enjoy and good luck.
And they're off. Awkward start for Cristal at the back of the field. Going to Vegas began very quickly. Fast Jet Court is a little hard to handle in the early stages. Neige Blanche is up close. In the center is Ride for the Cause. Down at the rail, Dog Tag is about 2 lengths off the speed. By the stands the first time, Umberto Rispoli has Going to Vegas, just cruising along. In front by 2 lengths to Neige Blanche in second. Dog Tag third, Ride for the Cause is fourth, about 3 lengths off the leader. Another length and a half back comes Luck, who's racing about 5 lengths off the lead into the first turn. Behind her, it is Red Lark. In front of that pair is Fast Jet Court. At the back of the field, Magic Attitude and Cristal. They start to string out a bit onto the backstretch, and it's Going to Vegas. In front by a length. Neige Blanche is close up in second. Dog Tag third. Then Ride for the Cause, 4 lengths off the lead. Fast Jet Court is next. Luck is reserved, followed by Magic Attitude, Red Lark, and Cristal. They have a half mile to run in the Rodeo Drive Stakes. And Going to Vegas has had it all her own way. Neige Blanche within 3/4 of a length second. Luck has advanced into third. Dog Tag on the fence fourth, has 3 lengths to make up, followed by Red Lark, who is on the outside of Ride for the Cause, Fast Jet Court, Cristal, and Magic Attitude, 1/4 of a mile to run. And Going to Vegas, Luck is out after her in second. Dog Tag on the fence. They're a furlong from the finish. Going to Vegas and Luck square off. going to Vegas, digging in, maintains a 3/4 length lead. Luck is getting a little bit closer with every stride, and dog tag going to Vegas. Luck going to Vegas all the way in the Rodeo Drive.
Wow.
Luck just couldn't get by it. Then it was dog tag in third, and there was a photo for fourth that went to Neige Blanche.
Wow.
Just bet all my horses for place today that I'm giving you.
Actually,
Although she went up at 2-1. I mean,
Pace made the race. They went 113, 136. I mean, that was going to Vegas. Got to walk up front and won a 6 furlong sprint there, right?
yes. Going to Vegas got to have it all her own way.
from where you are, Ashley, were you watching on a screen or did you have view of the up close view? I mean, where are you?
I can watch it on a screen. I'm outside the paddock, so I was already whipping before we could see in my hand whip. I had both of them in the pick 5, but obviously I thought the 8 might be a little bit more value there. But it was exciting though. Actually, the greatest thing about here right now, there's a decent crowd today. Just to hear the people was nice.
Very cool. So first of all, the one thing that came to mind is that as they're running, I mean, the first thing we heard was awkward start for Cristal, which you
had a solid eye roll when that happened.
Oh God, I was just like, Jesus. I mean, it's like my epitaph right here. This is like, I mean, every single time I'm like the last comment before the race starts. Of course, she breaks awkwardly. The second thing that came to mind was our poor producer and videographer, Greg. I made him go back. Well, I didn't make him. I asked him, and of course he did it because he's the man. I asked him to go back and clip a copy of like a version of the last race, the CTT TOC Stakes, where Cristal, I think, finished 5th in that race, but was stuck in behind horses because I wanted to highlight and show what a bad trip she had in that race. Not only did the horse run terribly today, all of the time that Greg wasted clipping that video that we never showed, it really is a shame. I'm almost inclined to say play it now just so Greg doesn't hate me.
Then comes Catch the Eye. Top of the lane now, and here comes Tapwater the Grey. And Tapwater moving in ominously. Epidemia's Girl.
All right, save that trip for next time. Save that trip.
Well, I was about to say, if we would have shown that, the winner of that race finished a solid 4th here.
Yep. So obviously a key race there. And you learn as you go on that maybe don't overanalyze necessarily a bad trip, because sometimes it might be just a bad trip for a horse that's just not that good. And so I think that's what we saw there from Cristal, plus the fact that she couldn't get out of the gate today. So anyhow, Ashley, we know we don't have you unlimited here. You're live. You want to go enjoy your day. Before we let you go, quickly recap for those just joining us, who you like in the Awesome Again. And I know you got a pick 5 ticket, but if you were betting the race straight up, how would you bet it?
Ooh, this is tough. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I struggled so hard constructing the ticket because I think a lot depended on the last 2 legs. If I had to pick a horse, I'd probably pick John Neville. I think Tripoli. I think the setup. I kind of like this horse today. I think my sleeper in there is midcourt. I'll probably be the degenerate that bets midcourt until he wins again. But I'm thinking, them. I think another interesting case. I was talking to Peter Rotundo and we were handicapping the pick 5 together. Express Train, I think he can probably excuse that most recent effort. I think he could be sneaky in here. But if I had to pick a horse on top, I given out the chalk. I'd use the number 7.
Burying the lead, handicapping with Peter Rotundo.
Get hot, stay hot.
Just name dropping.
Yeah, one of those dangerous things you could ever do, handicap and bet with Pete Rotundo. Give him a big kiss.
On a good day. I've been selective handicapping. We started off very my day, and hopefully I just didn't jinx it right there.
All right, Ashley, before we let you go, we're going to go full screen with you. We want to feel like we're at Santa Anita with you. So give us a little spin around where you are. Show us the track a little bit so we feel like we're there.
Get the camera flip right now. You ready?
Let's do it.
That's a solid oak tree in the background.
Oh, that's great. Now we've gone completely black. The screen's black. What happened there? Oh, wait. Here we go. It's going to flip. It's going to turn.
There he goes.
Great race place. All right, so the jockey's walking back.
Got to the paddock. give you a little tour.
Okay, let's do it. Got time for a tour? Show us.
All right. And I just think this is such a beautiful, like, the walk out to the track, and love here that when the horses get saddled, you're up close and they have like the staggered rows. It's great. We'll go in the paddock.
They've made a little bit of room in the Run Happy Winner's Circle for going to Vegas.
And shout out, by the way, to going to Vegas rather, because I mean, this is a Breeders' Cup show, and she's got Breeders' Cup champions top and bottom being by Golden Sense and out of a Johannesburg mare. So,
As well as the runner-up, Luck. With the victory by Umberto Rispoli.
We heard Frank Miramati in the background talk about the winner's circle right now, and because this is a My Racehorse winner for going to Vegas, there are about 150 people in the winner's circle right now.
Wow, yeah.
Let's get that shot real quick. Wow.
Just imagine if Tiz the Magician wins.
Yeah, right. And there was a bit of, musical chairs, it looked like, in this race in the Rodeo Drive with Umberto Rispoli. I mean, this is a jockey who had been aboard Dog Tag for her last, how many horses? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He had obviously also been aboard Luck for that win here, or win there at Del Mar, rather, down south. And he opted to going to Vegas. I mean, I don't know how it came about. I don't know if he opted, but he ended up on your winner.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a thing that I thought was interesting as well, looking at the PPs, like looking at, I mean, and I made this joke yesterday. I said you could read all you want into musical chairs at Santa Anita, but when it comes to turf races, specifically routes, if you're saying, oh, well, Rispoli or Pratt was on this horse last out, they're on every horse who wins last out. So, it's kind of...
He rode the whole Super High 5 in that race. He's ridden the 3 Nage Blanche. He rode the 5 as well, right? For a cause before.
Yes.
Not 5 horses. Rispoli. There's the angle.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, let's bid farewell to Ashley. Ashley, enjoy the rest of your afternoon there. Thank you so much for jumping on with us for a little bit.
Yeah, get some winners. Get the winners here, and if you're still, going strong, race 11. I'm telling you, put some money on the 12 Friars Road.
Love it. Thank you, Ashley. We'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
All right, so there you go. You're seeing some of the winner's circle shots there. That's probably about a tenth of the crowd that was there a moment ago. Just massive crowd with the My Racehorse team being involved.
Jay Privman just won Twitter by tweeting, "Big win for track photographer Benoit Photo" on that, because they're going to sell a whole bunch of those.
Oh my God, such a good point. So the Awesome Again is up next. It's a grade 1, as we know, $300,000, but that's only a part of it. It's of course a winning you're in for the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. What it's all about at the end of the day, the Breeders' Cup this year, November 5th and 6th at Del Mar. That's the goal. That's where everyone's trying to get. We've been taking a look back at some past winners of the Awesome Again, formerly the Goodwood, who went on to win the Longines Classic. And now it's time to go back to 2013 and a horse named Mucho Macho Man.
Mucho Macho Man starting to open up on them as they come for home. And a scintillating performance from Mucho Macho Man and Gary Stevens as they take the grade 1 Awesome Again in effortless fashion.
Mucho Macho Man, declaration of war for Gordon on the inside. Mucho Macho Man has the lead close to home. Mucho Macho Man, declaration of war, will take charge of final man. Mucho Macho Man.
Larry Coleman is all out with that call, giving it everything.
Mucho Macho Man, I remember seeing him in the stall during his racing career. I forget. I think he was up in Saratoga. And I just remember being struck by the fact that his shoulders looked like this giant anvil. I mean, he's such a big horse. Very impressive specimen.
Yeah. And that was, at the time, I remember everybody was like, I mean, you remember the storyline, right? It was Gary Stevens.
Yeah.
He just come back from retirement, and he won the Preakness, then he won the Classic. But people, again, like I guess I'm thinking recently we've looked back at so many Breeders' Cup Classics, and we look back at like Blaine beating Zenyatta. Sorry, Ren. We look back at American Pharaoh. We look back at Tiz Now. But Mucho Macho Man, he's one that's also sort of been lost to time a little bit over the past 8 years. It's not one we talk about, but that was as exciting a finish as we've seen in the Classic.
Yeah.
Ever,
You have Declaration of War there too. Who's a horse that like, son of Warfront, who you talk about as a turf sire all the time. And they were watching the Breeders' Cup Classic, where he's right there at the end with a horse like Mucho Macho Man.
Well, the thing we always have to remember is that Warfront himself was a dirt horse. But he has obviously proved so versatile. We saw War Will go ahead and win the Preakness. But not only did Stevens win with Mucho Macho Man, but he had won with Beholder. And so, I mean, to take, you know what I'm saying, like to come back the way he did and just go, can I say balls to the walls? I don't think that's not ladylike, right? It's baseball. It's baseball reference. It was just so cool to see. I mean, masterclass.
Balls to the wall is actually it's a phrase that we encourage on this show. It has to be said at least 3 times a show. So
I didn't know. Because people always like to have their minds go someplace that they don't belong.
We're not. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about?
Oh, I don't know. Never mind. I'm not going to go any further than that. But I'm still laughing at myself because I had to go run because I heard my daughter going, "Mom, Mom," and I go up there. She managed to get into the freezer. She's 3. She managed to get into the freezer, pull out. She must have opened the box. She opened a box of those ice cream sandwich cookies, and she was holding it. She didn't know how to open the plastic wrapper.
I mean, are you kidding me? When you're that age, if you tell me I have ice cream sandwiches in my freezer, like I would do anything to get one of those. I mean, you're putting it out. I mean, you expect her not to do that? I mean, what do you expect?
As someone with a 3-year-old, it's a win she didn't bite through the wrapper.
Exactly.
That's true. But the other thing is though, I had already given her like 2 cookies, like chocolate chip cookies. So now she's had cookies and now ice cream sandwich. Whatever.
Don't ask me how I remember this, Ren, but we were on an ABR show and you mentioned to us that Matt's trick for distracting your daughter while you're on the show was feeding her ice cream sandwiches. So maybe it's just like this Pavlovian thing now.
Like a dog. Oh my gosh. Well, okay. Ring the bell.
We love Ava. Look, if there's any chance she's roaming around, I mean, we're not going to try to encourage you to leave the set, but bring her on. She brings us good luck. Bring Ava on just to say hello. All right, we are. Let's see. Let's pull the screen up. We are 18 minutes to the Awesome Again Stakes. You can see 4 to 5 next to the 5-horse Medina Spirit, who we mentioned a few times. Why? He's got a ton of speed, and he's won a couple of big races this year. He generally runs really well at Santa Anita. I mean, he's at 4 races. He won 1. He's never finished worse than second, and he's running behind Life is Good earlier in the year. So that's part of the reason why he didn't win all those races. But last out, he raced in the Shared Belief Stakes. Let's take a look back at that one.
Stiletto Boy on the outside, the great one at the rail, any one of 5. Medina Spirit now has to dig deep and find more. Rock Your World not quite doing enough. On the extreme outside is Stiletto Boy. T Merchant's a bit of bumping on the inside, the great one. But Medina Spirit keeps on finding. Rock Your World's come right back at him. Medina Spirit's going to win it. Medina Spirit has taken the Shared Belief.
All right, so we've talked about Medina Spirit. Why Medina Spirit? Medina Spirit's fast. But look, in terms of pace here, Tis a Magician's pretty fast too, is he not? I mean, do we still see Medina Spirit being loose on the lead? Anybody can take this.
I mean, I think he's the speed of the speed. I think the reason Tis a Magician isn't looked upon as being as fast, even though he's gotten the lead in multiple races, is that For example, that last time out was a 1.25 miles in the Pacific Classic. He'd been running 1.5 miles prior to that. But if you do look back, earlier in the year, he has been able to show speed at shorter distances. I mean, we've even seen him last year be able to, put in a 46 4.5 at Del Mar. Granted, that was against optional 40 competition. Now we're in a grade 1 race. So I think it's the idea of a horse can have speed, but what type of speed is it? And in this case, Medina Spirit is the grade 1 speed of this race.
Yeah, I kind of see Tis a Magician as a Midnight Bourbon-esque horse, where they're a speed horse, but they're not a speed horse, right? I mean, like you run into Hot Rod Charlie even, and he can't get the lead, and he gets put away. If you're in the Travers, for instance, and Midnight Bourbon's able to get the lead, he's really tough on the lead. And it's the same with Tis a Magician. If Tis a Magician is able to get the lead, he's really tough there. But when you look at a horse like Medina Spirit, who had 4 of the 8 fastest opening half miles in the Kentucky Derby prep races, his speed is a different kind of speed.
Yeah.
When he gets going, he is just faster than everyone else in this race. He can go 46 comfortably. And that's a problem for a horse like Tis a Magician, who needs to go 46, and he's being ridden full out. So it's going to be tough for anyone to press Medina Spirit. It's just whether or not someone can be close enough to get him late.
Yeah.
JD, what do you see on pace?
Well, I think Express Train on the shorter races tends to be, it's kind of the opposite you would think. Is in the shorter routes, Express Train seems to be closer to the pace, and when they're going like 1.25 miles, the horse seems to be further back. So I'm very interested to see where Hernandez is going to place Express Train. And obviously Express Train is pretty dead on the board from the morning line right now. You're getting almost 3x there, but I think that's a potential pace partner there. I think Azul Coast is also a horse that may have one way of winning this race, which is probably going to be tactical speed or trying to, pace with Medina Spirit. So Abel Cedillo again may have a chance there, but obviously the one thing you're not going to expect there is those are 2 Baffert horses, but really what other choice does Azul Coast have in this spot? So be interesting to see tactically what Azul Coast does, because you've got 2 potential speed horses from the same trainer here.
Azul Coast. I mean, that's a horse that I think, is obviously going to be overlooked in this race. Much bigger names. It's a horse jumping up from allowance level to this really big grade 1 here, the Awesome Again Stakes. But to be fair, was tried in the Sham Stakes, second out after winning on debut, finished second there to Authentic last year. So Azul Coast, an interesting horse for sure. Our second choice here is Tripoli. This is a horse who, I'll say came out of nowhere. I mean, certainly wasn't.
I picked him. Don't you remember? I was on with you for this, and he was my pick. Thank you very much, Tripoli.
It's a great card game. Great card game. I'm looking to bet on cards.
Now I feel like I have to break out in the song. From the hills of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we'll fight for freedom on land and air and sea.
Keep going, Ren.
I used to be able to play that on piano.
And do Men in Black.
I don't know.
Come on, little Johnny Cash.
Oh, Johnny Cash. I thought you meant the movie with Will Smith.
Oh, Jesus.
I thought Ren was about to rap here.
I was like, what?
Ring of Fire, okay? Ring of Fire.
Oh, and I can't. I would never insult Johnny Cash by trying to. I would never insult Johnny Cash by trying to do an impersonation.
And I ain't seeing the sunshine.
Go ahead, Mike. He wants you to. I don't think Mike knows how to film it.
I like Johnny Cash, but like the movie is really as deep as I've gotten into his music. Not gonna lie.
All right, back to horse racing.
Good idea.
Good idea.
JD down there shaking his head.
I thought you guys were like, I thought you knew everything. I thought you did. You did music, you did movies, you did all of it. I didn't realize it was just horse racing.
I need one-hit wonders from the 90s, man. Then we're all day.
All right. You want to do a little Black-Eyed Cherry, or what do you think?
Yeah, we could save tonight, man.
There we go. There we go. All right. By the way, quick update here, and incredibly, we're like viewership is increasing through this conversation. I'm looking at the numbers. Amazing. Jay Prigman tweets, and Greg Charkoudian prevails here. Pratt says right buckle on Rain came off, which is why Dr. Scheibel moved so intently heading into the turn. Said he yelled to Cedillo and showed him evidence, and Cedillo gave him room to move. Quote, I was just trying to be safe, said Pratt, who said that that had never happened to him before. So the Rain did come off, and apparently that was that move. That was the move. He turned to Cedillo and said, dude, like the Rain came off. And so I guess like what? Like he just opened it up for him and that's it. He just went through, right? That seems like it was just like good sportsmanship or something.
Sounds like a strategy he should employ more often, right?
I mean, hey, look, it worked there. It worked there. But that's kind of wild. That is a wild thing that unfolded there in the okay, so Tripoli we've talked about. Let's do this. Since we've talked about Tripoli, let's take a look back at Tripoli's sort of banner win in his last start in the Pacific Classic.
Royal Ship plugging away in the red cap, and then Cupid's Claws, and now Dr. Poster starting to wind up, but he's given himself a tall order. Homeward bound in the Pacific Classic, and Tripoli strikes the front and kicks on strongly, and it's Tripoli starting to draw clear now. Tis a Magician is again second, but it's Tripoli in front as they run to the wire, and Tripoli and Tiago Pereira have won the Pacific Classic.
Right, so Ren was on him since birth, since he came out of the womb.
Yeah, since he came out of the womb. Yep, more like since he got off the turf and onto the dirt.
He's been incredible lately. I mean, is this just a really spectacular horse that's going to keep this going, or is he just kind of in good form right now and has enjoyed this move over to the dirt?
I think this is a horse that they finally decided, even though he's by Kitten's Joy, let's go ahead and put him on dirt. And I think they were pleasantly surprised what they got out of it. And now they're going to keep rolling with them. I mean, I think Medina Spirit is legitimate. So obviously he's the horse that you're going to have to catch. And he's going to be extra sharp now, being able to stretch the mile and an eighth off that mile shared belief. So it's going to be tough, but I mean, I think Tripoli is, I just don't know exactly how you make money here, because I think your two top choices are the legitimate two top choices. Idol has upside, obviously, lightly raced, coming off that win over Express Train. I do think from an exotic standpoint, the two mid-court, if you look at that record at Santa Anita specifically, I mean, he's been in the money in 8 of 11 starts over the surface. He's not, obviously, I don't think he's a win candidate, because he seems to be a horse that either needs to be like right close to it or on the lead to win. But I do think he's a horse that's classy enough to hold for a piece.
As you mentioned, some of these horses, I looked at Idol's odds. I was like 10-1. I was like, oh my God, that's really high for Idol. And then I looked at Express Train, who's the other horse that, has kind of been in the mix with these horses. And I'm looking at 13-1. Like, oh my God, like I get the excitement, the spirit, but I mean, it's incredible the prices that we're looking at right now for some of these others. JD, kicking it down to you. When we look at some of these horses like Idol, Express Train, even Midcourt, who I think Ashley made a pretty strong case for. These are all horses who run in common company. Are you a little surprised at the prices right now? And do you jump on one of those, given that they're so inflated because Medina Spirit's been being bet so hard?
Yeah, I think we're getting a little bit of Medina Spirit inflation. I think Tripoli is a solid second choice, and there's value there at 4-1. But, of the other horses, I'm going to be out on my own here, and I realize it, but I like Stiletto Boy. And here's really why. The Iowa Derby winner. Last time out against Medina Spirit, I mean, I really wish this would have made the chart in some way, but really, Team Merchants like roller derby that horse out, and it took a few strides for Stiletto Boy to get back on the proper lead, and then Stiletto Boy started closing again there, and I think Kent DeSormo did a great job getting that horse back to rally. It was a new tactic coming off of pace, and I really think that it suits this horse really well. Now, will there be a pace partner to Medina Spirit, and will Medina Spirit get tested out front? That's the big question here. So I'm not telling you to go take your nest egg and put it on Stiletto Boy at 30-1. But what I'm saying is if there's a pace breakdown, I would like Stiletto Boy the best out of any of the other chances here, just simply based on the action that we saw and the recovery and kind of the stick-to-itiveness of the horse after getting completely bumped off stride. We saw it, obviously, we already rolled back the shared belief, but I mean, that was significant trouble. And to still come on and finish third in that race was a pretty big deal.
If you missed this half of the show, we mentioned that Jessica Paquette was not able to join us tonight because she fell off a horse, and JD is stepping in for her. JD not trying to be subtle in his appearance tonight. JD trying to make big waves, dropping a 30-1 shot, literally the longest shot on the board as his selection in the Awesome Again Stakes. JD.
Iowa Derby winner. There you go.
JD not messing around. All right, Mike, back to you. We talked
Bring
about
some sanity, Mike.
Yeah,
okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the favorite's going to win, guys. 3-5. Sorry, but it's going to happen. So let's talk about value. Look, no one wants to win. What is that? $1.20? No one wants $1.20 on their $2. So let's have some fun with this. I was looking at the double prices. Has anyone looked at the double prices?
Not yet. What are you seeing?
It's wild. The 5-4 pays $12. United, it's $12 double 5-4. The next lowest double is $59 to the 7. Wow. The 4 horse is a literally even money shot in the last race in the doubles right now. That is where you can make some money. So if you like Medina Spirit here, look at the 1 award winner. Look at the 3. I can't remember his name right now. Look at the 12. All 3 of those horses are paying $70+ for a $2 double. And United is paying $12. So to me, like if you like Medina Spirit here, which I personally do, I think he gets loose on the lead. I think he goes wire to wire. I'm going to play some doubles because there's some value going in the 10 to 11 race double here.
Okay, well that's really. I mean, I'm glad you caught that in the moment. Very important information. I do want to take a look back at a horse that I loved in the big cap, who won, who comes back here and, you know, understandably is 8-1 off of a long break. That's Idol. Let's take a look at this at the big cap, and then we'll come back and talk about Idol a little bit.
Behind them, Idol, followed by Coastal Defense and Kiss Today Goodbye. Express Train takes the lead into the stretch, and he opens up a length. Independence Hall running a big one. Maxfield on the outside, and Tis a Magician. There's an 1/8 of a mile to go, and Express Train is digging in. Independence Hall far outside. Here comes Idol with giant strides. It's Express Train. Idol's trying to get him. Express Train or Idol. Idol perfectly timed. Idol gets up under Joel Rosario.
All right, so Idol hasn't run since that career best 102 buyer, won the big cap. That was in March. But Ren, I mean, I'm going to go back to you. This is a horse who has all the pedigree in the world. Maybe you could argue he wants to go, you know, even longer.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You're by curling out AP&D, Mary.
So, you know, look, you would think that they try to get a race into him. You know, I mean, you would think maybe they go for like an allowance or like a lesser race to move into it. But they're going into this race. How do you read this when it comes to Idol and maybe as a setup for the Classic or setup for something else?
Well, I think obviously, you know, their hope is that you can go into the Classic, especially after you've won at 1.25 miles, with, you know, putting up a triple-digit buyer. And, you know, the progression. Now you've had some time off. So you're coming in fresh. He's not, and he's also, I mean, again, going back to the Lasix angle, and it's also encouraging that he's been able to win like that sans Lasix, because you cannot run with Lasix in the Breeders' Cup. And additionally, you beat a horse like Maxfield. Now, Maxfield was probably short going into that race. I know Maxfield ran second today in the Woodward with the addition of blinkers, but he didn't have an honest pace in front of him to close into. So Art Collector was able to basically have it all his own way today. But still, obviously, we know what Maxfield can do. And so to be able to win in a race, not only over Express Train, but over Maxfield, you know, they obviously had to be very encouraged by that. I think this is a very nice horse. I do wonder if he's going to get enough pace here, because Maxfield could very well just go out there. I mean, he is the grade 1 speed of this race. I do think Tripoli is able to hang close enough, about a length off. I think it might be a merry-go-round, to be honest with you. We'll have to see.
Okay. Look, it's not JD style here. I'm not going to go with the longest shot on the board, but I keep going back. My eyes keep going back to the 3-horse here, Express Train. Admittedly, super disappointing flat effort last out in the Pack Classic, but had the breakthrough win before that in the San Diego, where he beat Tripoli. He beat Tripoli 2 races ago. Like, so what are we even talking about here? That was at 1.25 miles. You know, I think he's probably at his best. You know, I'm speaking now specifically about the Pack Classic being 1.25 miles. It didn't run well there, but he's probably at his best here between 1 mile and 1/16 and 1 mile and 1/8. So I think he's going back to a distance that is more suitable. Won the San Pasquale at this distance. I think he figures to sit a nice trip here. If anyone goes with Medina, whether it's, you know, Stiletto Boy or whether it's Tis a Magician, I think Express Train sits a really nice trip here. I mean, I can't see him finishing worse than second. I mean, is there any reason we don't like Express Train?
I think it makes a ton of sense here. I mean, it was the favorite last time out, just ran a dud of a race. You go 2 back, the horse ran very well, like you mentioned. I mean, I would use Express Train underneath. I have a little interest in Azul Coast underneath. I think there's a couple horses that can make some noise, but 10-1 seems like a great price here on Express Train.
Great price, a great price. JD, you want to comment on Express Train though?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the San Pasquale. I mean, beat Tis a Magician, beat Idol on that day at this distance on this surface. I mean, it's good form to look back at, and it is from this year. I mean, it was January, but it's this year.
All right, Awesome Again Stakes. They're going into the gate. Thank you so much, everyone who's joined in and watched. I'm looking at the viewer count. We are well into the high hundreds, and we appreciate everyone who's tuned in. Thank you so much for spending your evening with us. Enjoy the Awesome Again Stakes.
And they're off in the Awesome Again. Stiletto Boy broke well. Medina Spirit comes right up alongside of him to take the lead. Tripoli and Azul Coast are 3rd and 4th. Azul Coast pretty keen to go after them. Express Train is racing between horses. Tis a Magician now 1 off the fence and about 3 off the lead. It's another 3 back to midcourt, who's at the back of the field with a wide Idol. Medina Spirit sets the pace unopposed. He has it by a length. Tis a Magician moves into 2nd. Azul Coast 3rd. Stiletto Boy back to 4th. Then Tripoli together with Express Train. Express Train in some traffic. About 4 off the pace. 2 more to midcourt. And then Idol heading to the 5/8 pole. And it is Medina Spirit leading the way 3/4 of a length. In 2nd, Tis a Magician. Azul Coast in 3rd. Then Tripoli outside Stiletto Boy. An Express Train is in between those 2. Now 5 off the pace with a half-mile left to run. Midcourt is asked to pick it up, and another 2.5 to Idol. Medina Spirit in control around the far turn. Starts to sneak away from Tis a Magician, has it by a length and a half. Stiletto Boy. Tripoli is starting to rally on the outside. There goes Tripoli all the way up to take 3rd, coming to the quarter pole. Midcourt will angle out for the drive. They're at the top of the stretch. Medina Spirit, Tripoli on the outside. Stiletto Boy running a good race with the white blaze on the inside. They're a furlong from the finish. And Medina Spirit has been cruising the entire journey. Asked to finish the job now. And he is finishing with a flourish. Medina Spirit makes a statement in the Awesome Again, romping home to win by 5 widening lengths. Stiletto Boy 2nd,
JD.
Express Train 3rd, then Tripoli and Tis a Magician.
JD, I know you wanted the horse to win, but that was a great call there. I mean, look, congrats to Medina Spirit, but the call on Stiletto Boy, JD, nice job there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was an impressive performance from Medina Spirit, who we somehow in the end got 6-5 on. What?
That's ridiculous. Yeah,
Right?
no, I'm very surprised by that. I thought for sure he'd be odds on.
Yep.
I'm going to reiterate. JD just picked a 50-1 shot.
Underneath, I know. That's
JD,
awesome.
take a bow. Just take a little mini bow. You can do it.
I'll do what I can. I've got limited screen real estate here, but no, yeah, that's going to be a nice exacta. Obviously, the best exacta you could possibly have.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the exact probables, but I'm assuming so. So hopefully somebody cashed in.
Do you know when you knew that it was just wrapped up? I mean, you see that opening quarter go, and you see like Johnny just moving his goggles like it's nothing. Like, okay, cruising along. You just knew it was done.
137 for a mile.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
And you know what? How great that you chose to show the 2000 Breeders' Cup Classic. By the way, again, going back to Giants Causeway, because Giants Causeway is the sire of Medina Spirit's sire, Protonico. So it's kind of fun to see that carry on through that type of class.
All right, look, we just saw that. That's Medina Spirit punching his ticket to the Breeders' Cup Classic. We know there's another horse that's Breeders' Cup Classic bound named Knicks Go. What the hell happens?
They all duel themselves into submission. It's going to be Essential Quality or Maxfield or maybe Hot Rod Charlie rates, or I don't know.
give me some theories. So, like, again, I know, like, if I'm going to talk, I'm going to speak for Mike briefly. I know he hates Hot Rod Charlie in the Classic. I've heard this.
Whoa.
You hate Hot Rod Charlie. I know you hate Hot Rod Charlie. You hate the story, but you hate the horse.
I think he's a great show bet. He's going to finish third. That's awesome. Good for him, man. Great story. Awesome horse. He just is not as good as these.
You hate Hot Rod Charlie. You hate Hot Rod Charlie. I know you hate Hot Rod Charlie. All right, but seriously, game it out for us, Mike. How does this race unfold? You got Medina Spirit in it. You got Knicks Go in it. Let's just for fun throw Latruska in it. You've got the three of them in it. I know Latruska's probably not going to the Classic, but let's just throw her in it. What does this race look like? First quarter mile, first half mile.
Well, as someone who picked Medina Spirit in the Derby, high five, Dan. Way to go. The reason I did was the draw. It's all about who draws inside here. If Knicks Go draws inside of Medina Spirit or vice versa, that horse then has to push the pace. And so if Knicks Go draws inside, the Medina Spirit's gonna have to rate outside, and vice versa, because neither one is going to give up the lead and the rail in that race. I like whichever one draws inside in that sense, because I think both of them have pretty high cruising speeds. If they go nuts up front, then it could get interesting. And then if Medina Spirit draws inside, I think it could get interesting. If Knicks Go draws inside, I think he's gone. But if Medina Spirit draws inside, I think that could create the pace duel that everyone's looking for. That could create absolute chaos from a wagering perspective.
Important to note, Medina Spirit has never been passed in the lane, with the exception of one race in which, to steal a line from Ren, Midnight Bourbon went balls to the wall and pressed
2 of the 3.
and pressed Medina Spirit in the Preakness. Aside from that, where Medina Spirit has had at least a length lead throughout, has never been passed in the lane. So if Medina Spirit, to your point, Mike, draws inside, breaks well, and can open up just a touch of daylight, at least just a length or two, I have a hard time seeing anyone pass him. JD, give us your theory as we sit here a month out from the Breeders' Cup as to how this race might unfold, knowing who the potential players are.
It's chaotic. I have a really hard time figuring out if they're going to duel themselves. It's one of these cases where we could see the expectation that they're just going to duel themselves into submission up front, that nobody goes, and it's going to be super easy for the one horse that does it. I'm a contrarian and I'm a long shot player, so I'm hoping Happy Saver makes the field, because I think Happy Saver can get a trip in that race against those. And I know that's going to irritate Mike. So you were fake trying to irritate Mike. I just went full out to irritate Mike.
No, anyone who wants to put $2 on Happy Saver, I'm a friend of.
Wow. I mean, you did just drop a 50-1 place runner. So we're going to give you a little bit of slack here. Ren, like, I know you primarily factor pedigree in, but once we get to the Classic,
by that point, no, not anymore. No.
Right. What do you think? I mean, as you're looking at this picture develop for the launch,
I'm just excited. We have so many great horses going in there. I mean, I just love seeing the elite horses duke it out, and that's what makes it so thrilling. And it's also going to make that board very nice. And that's one of the great things about Breeders' Cup. You get horses at prices you'd never be able to get them at. And so I think the wagering opportunities are going to be quite interesting. But yeah, when you have a horse who's just like grade 1 speed like Medina, and now you're going to have like Nick's Go, and does it set up for like an essential quality? Does it set up maybe for Maxfield? Take those blinkers off and see if he can get that mile and a quarter. I think the pedigree of it, could get it. Maybe these two, maybe Nick's Go and Medina are just so good it doesn't matter, and they can duke it out all the way around. I mean, we've seen it before where we've been expecting big like pace meltdowns and that don't materialize, and those horses are just so game they gut it out all the way to the wire. It could be one of those scenarios. So bottom line, I'm excited. There is also part of me, I know this is not going to happen, there's part of me that would be so interested to see Mishriff come over, and instead of going in the Breeders' Cup turf, to go into the Classic, because he does have enough pedigree that suggests that he could take the dirt just fine. But yeah, I mean, all I can say is that it's going to be a thriller.
Yeah,
all right.
Sure. I mean,
craziness, Dan.
Absolutely.
Medina Spirit was not the favorite in the place pool and just paid $420 to place. Tripoli was the favorite in the place pool.
Oh.
Wow, that is so weird. I mean, I saw that exacta payout, $83. I would venture to say you could be doing anything else tonight, but for those of you watching this show, and I still see there are a lot of you watching this show, I really hope you utilize JD's selection there of the big long shot Stiletto Boy at 50-1. That exact paid what, $83 for $1?
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable.
To people that say you can't make money betting favorites, Dr. Scheibel pays $560. Going to Vegas, even money. 6-5 shot wins that race. The 4-horse here pays $600 in the pick 5. The next lowest is $1,200 for 50 cents.
I mean, yeah.
All 3 logical horses.
It was right there. It really was. I mean, look, there are, and everybody watching this show, it seemed like we had consensus tonight, unlike any other night. They love Medina Spirit. So you use that horse in your horizontals. Also, again, if you were just playing this race straight up, JD and Stiletto Boy, I'll do a little bit of a brag. I mean, I liked Express Train. We know that. Express Train finished 3rd. Look, I'm just saying, you could have come up with this trifecta and it paid bonkers. So, don't get discouraged when you see a short price in a race like this, that there are still betting opportunities. Even if if you don't got a big budget, if you're only betting a small amount, look, the dollar payout, $83 for that exacta is just spectacular. So, again, tip of the cap to JD on that call. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome again.
I hope some people are live to the doubles here too. A $2 double to Friars Road, the 12-horse here. A lot of people mentions paying $58. $2 double to the 1 award winners paying $156. To the 3 Neptune Storm is paying $55. So even with a 6-5 shot, the doubles are paying awesome if you're playing anyone but the 4 here.
If you're just tuning in, Ashley Bay, who joined us earlier, Friars Road, like Mike mentioned, the 12-horse was 15-1 morning line, currently 10-1. That was her top pick before she signed off. She said, be sure you bet Friars Road. Mike, we'll let you get a last word in on the handicapping side. If for people just joining us right now, exacta, trifecta, win place bet, how would you approach this last race, the John Henry Turf Championship?
I wouldn't touch the 4-horse at 4-5. I maybe underneath if you want to. I think that the 3-horse Neptune Storm as a pace advantage could take the field wire to wire at 15-1. I like Award Winner at 25-1. The 1-horse. I agree with Friars Road, the 12-horse at 9-1, and I also think the 7-horse is interesting here. Masterpiece at 6-1. I would play. I mean, I'm probably going to end up playing a try with the 1-3 and try and get a price home in that first spot. And then play 1-3-4-12 over 1-3-4-7-12 for $1 in the try and see if we can get some big numbers home up front and make this thing pay.
All right. I love it. JD Fox, you can catch him on the Champagne and JD show. Mike Somich, you can catch him on the Magic Mike show with the Racing Dudes. Ren Carothers, Breeders' Cup Future Stars Forecast. You can catch her on ABR channels as well. I'm Dan Tordjman. You can catch me constantly ranting on here at America's Best Racing. We thank all of you who have tuned in tonight to watch us. We're actually back tomorrow for a quick style show.
I have to brace I'm bringing the alcohol tomorrow because I know what you're doing to me tomorrow.
I was going to say bring Ava, but if you're bringing the alcohol, maybe don't bring Ava. So.
Oh, I already know what backtrack you're going to show me.
I'm not going to do it. It's the Zenyatta Stakes. I'm not going to show her losing on Zenyatta Stakes.
I don't know. Maybe you do the double. Maybe you frame it like, oh, let's watch Zenyatta, and you show the win, and then you're like, and she came so close to making history, and then you show the next one. So I don't know.
I would never do that. JD and Mike, I'm actually throwing it. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us. Breeders' Cup Live, Road to the Longines Classic for JD, Mike, and Ren. I'm Dan Tordjman. We'll see you next time.
Really is a special thing to see it come to Del Mar and for Del Mar to be put on the world stage. And it seems like fans, not only from around the country, but around the world, have really gravitated to this event.
So glad you could join us in this beautiful Southern California afternoon. Pristine conditions for championship racing. That's what this event is all about. Championship.